Johnny Depp just suffered humiliating public meltdown and makes shock admission. The Hollywood liberal elites are at it again and then can never seem to help themselves. The California hub for celebrities is known for not exactly having many if any conservatives. They often denounce politicians, especially if they are Republican, and this most recent incident is no different. Actor Johnny Depp spoke out against the president, where he insinuated as an actor he would assassinate the president. Depp controversially said, "I think he needs help and there are a lot of wonderful dark places he could go. It is just a question, I'm not insinuating anything. By the way, this is going to be in the press. It will be horrible. I like that you are all a part of it. I want to qualify, I am not an actor. I lie for a living. However, it has been a while and maybe it is time. When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?" Now Depp has officially released an apology as of Friday to People magazine, something these elitist liberals don't often do. He said the following: "I apologize for the bad joke I attempted last night in poor taste about President Trump. It did not come out as intended, and I intended no malice. I was only trying to amuse, not to harm anyone." He made the comments in comparison to the assassination of Abraham Lincoln by John Wilkes Booth in 1865. This took place at the Glastonbury Festival. Shortly after his comments were made public, the conservative media as well as the White House spoke out against him. The White House had released the following statement saying, "President Trump has condemned violence in all forms and it's sad that others like Johnny Depp have not followed his lead. I hope that some of Mr. Depp's colleagues will speak out against this type of rhetoric as strongly as they would if his comments were directed to a Democrat-elected official." This is just the latest in a string of other controversial events. Just last month, Kathy Griffin posted a photograph of a decapitated head of Donald Trump with blood streaming down his face and then posted it all over the media. The picture received universal denouncement. As a result, she lost her job with CNN co-hosting their New Year's Eve gig. The president's daughter-in-law Laura Trump spoke to Sean Hannity on Friday and said the following about Depp's actions. "Listen, I was in Iowa with my father-in-law for the rally the other day. What I can tell you is that people in this country are sick and tired of this sort of thing. They don't think it's cute. They don't think it's funny. Johnny Depp is not doing himself any favors with fans of his by doing things like this. It's really sad. At least he apologized. I guess it's really disappointing. It really does speak to a bigger problem, which is that this sort of thing has been normalized. We see what happened with Shakespeare in the Park, we see Kathy Griffin, we see late-night hosts, Madonna going to blow up the White House. It's out of control and it's really, really sad. And as a family member, as an American, it's incredibly disappointing. Let's be very clear, this has never happened in this capacity to any other president. It's happening to Donald Trump because he is Donald Trump. Because their candidate failed, because they have nothing else to say. They have no platform. They have no real leader. They have no real message. So the only real thing they can do is pile on the president, and unfortunately, it is to the detriment of the country. And instead of trying to be proactive and help pass legislation that might be beneficial to the people of this country, instead it's just all anti-Trump. Both Kellyanne Conway as well as the president's son Don Jr. have spoken out against Depp's comments. While Eric Trump, Ivanka Trump, Melania Trump, and Jared Kushner have all remained surprisingly quiet concerning the situation. The Secret Service did indicate they were aware of the threats and had knowledge of them but refused to say much more, indicating the following. "For security reasons, we cannot discuss specifically nor in general terms the means and methods of how we perform our protective responsibilities." Press Secretary Sean Spicer said the following at a press briefing on Friday. "Look, I think it's troubling whether it's that, Julius Caesar, or Johnny Depp's comments. We've seen this and frankly, as far as I'm concerned, I know the President and the First Lady have weighed in on Kathy Griffin's comments. I don't know if he's aware about the play in particular that's going on there." But it is frankly in my belief a little troubling the lack of outrage that we've seen in some of these instances where people have said what they've said with respect to the president and the actions that should be taken. The president's made clear that we should denounce violence in all of its forms, and I think if we're going to hold to that standard, we should all agree that that standard should be universally called out. Liberals wonder how violence is perpetuated in society, yet they fail to look at themselves in the mirror and see where the problem lies. It isn't Republicans going out and doing these things but Democrats. Yet nobody calls them out for it in the mainstream liberal media. Hollywood movie star Seth Rogen just attacked Trump fan who was stabbed 9 times and in critical condition. For quite some time, the world has been getting more and more obsessed with what the rich and famous do, where they go, what they wear and what they think about things. Unfortunately for us, these are usually people who got their fame due to either their looks or their ability to lie. The rise to fame of the typical movie star usually includes a rocket ship powered by money that lands on the planet Malibu, where the communities are gated and the troubles of the regular American may as well be from another planet. Listening to a movie star or pop singer for your political or moral values would be kind of like getting your religious views from a drug dealer. Yes, they might have some strong views, but they'll be subjective to what accommodates their personal lifestyle, rather than what's right and wrong. Every single time one of these limousine liberals opens their big liberal mouths, we're reminded just how out of touch with the real world they are. The most recent ridiculously rude and classless display of that was from comedy superstar Seth Rogen, who thought it'd be okay to make fun of a guy who sort of resembled him who'd been repeatedly stabbed and left for dead by Muslims who were, just acting out their religion. Via InfoWars. Actor Seth Rogen mocked a multiple stabbing victim on Twitter because the Trump supporter did not have health insurance, in another shocking example of vulgar leftist rhetoric. Tony Foreman was stabbed 9 times following a free speech rally in Santa Monica, California, last Saturday. The attackers, a Muslim Armenian gang, told Foreman, "You're getting the shank, white boy," before lunging at him with knives. Foreman had paraphernalia on his car that identified him as a Trump supporter. 2 male suspects, later identified as Edgar Katsasarian, 30, and Arsen Wikiverdian, 31, were arrested and charged with attempted murder and assault with a deadly weapon. Immediately after the vicious attack, instead of using it to reflect on the rising tide of anti-Trump hate crime that had swept the nation, the left exploited the stabbing to make fun of the victim for not having health insurance. Actor Seth Rogen followed suit earlier today, tweeting, "Just so everyone knows, I'm not a white nationalist, I have not been stabbed 9 times, and I do have health insurance." Rogen was using the fact that he physically resembled Foreman to mock the victim for not having health insurance. The actor's tweet was clearly intended to insult the victim because of his political views. The reaction was swift. He is not alt-right or a white supremacist. He's a good guy with a big heart looking to fight for his country. "What's wrong with you, dude?" asked Mike Tokes. "I'm a Latino, so he's not a white supremacist. He's a kind person who doesn't discriminate. See him at the hospital and apologize," demanded congressional candidate Omar Navarro. In an age where everyone gets accused of being racist, making fun of someone that's been stabbed 9 times seems humorless, added another Twitter user. Rogen's tweet is a disgrace, but it's par for the course in an age where leftists engage in the most vitriolic hate against conservatives with wanton abandon. Does Rogen ever wonder why vile, out-of-touch, elitist Hollywood pricks like himself are so reviled by flyover country? This tweet is why. This tweet is why Trump won. For one thing, why on earth is it okay to call the guy a white supremacist? I know it can't be his looks, since the whole reason he got attention is that he looked like Rogen. Maybe it's because he was at a Trump rally. I guess anyone who's associating with a white guy that a bunch of white people supports, who the liberals have branded a racist, must be a white supremacist. Somehow that logic is passed off with a straight face by many liberals. Also, he was supposedly their working security, and the chance is anyone who's actually working in the middle of the day is up to no good in the minds of the liberals. 2. They've really gotta move fast to pull the attention off the fact that it was a pack of out-of-control Muslims that did the stabbing. We can't be letting Islam get a bad name by people realize that they might be the next victim. That would be very unfortunate for the liberal agenda. Since the stabbing was done by a group of people that have been put into a protected class, they really need to keep the bad press away from him. To be honest, this could all just be Rojan tackling the grenade so that his buddies don't look bad. And as far as the crack about his not having insurance, I can't even begin to point out all the reasons that is completely below the belt. Thanks to the crooked Obama, many middle-class people lost their insurance. Because that's what happens when premiums triple. And somehow they're using that to say that it supports theirs over-the-top socialist policies. Just leave it alone, the free market will work it out. Usually, I say that people like Rojan should keep their ignorant opinions to themselves. However, if they keep making completely uninformed and heartless statements like this, they'll bury their agenda on their own. Source: InfoWars.